Hello everyone. Have you ever ended up in a scenario where you thought that a particular code change would just take a few hours, but the code mess was so grave that you ended up taking weeks? You thought that there would be just one line or two lines of change, but what you ended up was to change hundreds of modules, and then even understanding those hundreds of modules. Sometimes the code quality was so bad that even those hundreds of modules have to be understood properly, and sometimes the logics are so much entangled. I'm sure many of you would have ended up in such scenarios, including me. So here what I'm going to do is to talk about why do we end up in such scenarios and what are my experiences around it. So first thing is, why do we end up in a bad quality code? Because many times the reason is that the code was not written in a way in which it should be written. When the project initially started, you might have a very good hopes with the particular project that hey, this project is going to follow all the patterns, but over time initially the productivity would be very high, and there would be shorter release cycles and you would be able to release features faster. But over time, when the project grows after 2 or 3 years, it just becomes hard to have the same quality of the code. And it is because initially the code is in the good state, but later the quality could not be maintained. And I'm sure that many of us are culprit also for this. So we all would have done that hey, we should not write a proper code. We should just add one line of if block in this particular piece of code, and then the same if block in particular three or four pieces of code. I'm sure many of us would have done it by not following the right approach and just putting our if block throughout our code. And although it is a short term thing, but we do that because maybe we would be chasing some deadline. Maybe we committed something to be done in a particular time, and now managers and product managers are chasing us that, hey, when would this work be finished? Or maybe we were just tired with a given project. Maybe we didn't want to work on the particular problem statement. So we thought that, okay, let me add this if block here, let me add some logic here and get my work done. And then we will just move on to something else. And many times, the third thing which happens with all of us is that we leave the code refactoring or doing the right thing for other day. If there is a comment in our pull request, we'll just add a ticket that hey, I'm going to work on the refactoring on the other day, and then that other day would never come. So we just move the things for the other day, and then what happens is that over time these backlogs just pile up, and then they pile up in a way that it hits us hard. I'm going to share some of the experiences which I had in the past where I saw that the quality of the code was not as par. So it happened, I think, 6, 7 years back when I was working on one of the projects. And this is a real story, and I'm sure many of you could relate to. So initially, when the project started, it was all good. It was all, the productivity was very high. We were able to release the product very fast. Change number one, change number two, change number three, very fast. In every week, we could easily have two releases, sometimes three, or sometimes even one, depending upon how much we want. Because the code was small and we followed all the patterns and all the right practices. But over time, what happened was that the moment we started chasing the deadlines and the moment we started to compromise on the product, every single change used to take a lot of effort. You make one line of change and something else used to break. You make one line of change and then you have to understand hundreds of other things. So slowly we realized that initially we could release any feature in a week, and then later it used to take a month, all because of one single reason, that now the code was so much jumbled up. The things were not in the proper place. The responsibility, single responsibility, or the naming convention, all those things were so hard that you make one change and then you were never sure that whether this change would work, or whether something or some other flow would break or not. So that's the first thing. We need to understand that the code quality is important, because yeah, how do you actually ensure that whatever you are doing is right? And if you do not have the proper coding and the proper naming convention or the proper single responsibility principles and unit test and functional test, then it will just get hard. So that need to understand those knots in the project gets very high, and then it just slows down the whole project. So that was the one thing which I observed. And then what happened was that we protested. We said that, hey, we cannot work with this project is so complex that it's hard for us to move forward. We need to refactor this code. Now what happened was that now a V team was formed. We said that there would be two teams. We still need to support the old project. There would be some people in the old project and some of the people in the new project. So now there was a V team, and there was a new team, and there was a old team. And then the job of the V team was to rewrite the whole code in a way which is clean and which is well understood. So that's what the V team started to do. And then after a few years, I think after 1.5 years itself, the V team code also started to depreciate, and many people of that V team left the company. Many people moved here and there, and even the project was transferred to some other team. Now the some other team again started to put the same points that, hey, this code written by the V team is not good enough. So what happened was that you end up supporting two versions of the same project, and you are refactoring one version. And the moment you are able to refactor after a few years, let's say 2 years or 3 years, then and the people move out to the different companies, and then what happens is that the particular code is again not up to the mark. So it happens more often than not, and I think it happens with many people, that they all know all the principles and design principles and all those theories. There are lots of theories, and I'm sure many of you would know it properly. But when it comes to implementation, somehow what happens is that we don't implement it fully because we are chasing those deadlines. So how do we get out of this? What's the solution to this particular problem? So, first of all, many of you would blame your product managers. Many of you would blame your managers and your peers that, hey, the reason for this is these deadlines and these people chasing us for deadlines. But that's not always true. I think we all, as engineers, are also complicit in the same thing. We have to understand that although although the PM or the product managers would chase us for the deadlines, but they look up to us for the timelines. So when we communicate any timeline to them, so although they would press us that, hey, we want this thing in a week or we want this thing in 2 weeks, but they would still look at to us for the timeline. So it's their job to push us for the timeline, but it is our job to make sure that the project is in a good shape and form. So that's one thing. The second thing goes the same thing holds true for the engineering managers as well, that they might push for the timelines because it might be their job to push for the timelines, but they understand that the quality of the code is important in long run as well. So it is, as an engineers, our job to push for the timelines, push for the quality, because yeah, initially you might be very productive, and if that is what is your intent, then it's fine. That if your target is to be in the company or in the project for a few months or even a year, it's fine. You make the change and then you put it on someone else. But if you are there for a longer duration, then it is more important to take a stand for the quality of the project and the quality of the code. Because if you take those stands in a long run, it is going to help the project, and you might not end up in refactoring every few years. And what I have seen is that everyone understands this. Everyone, including managers, including PMs, everyone understands that, hey, these things do take time, but in a long run, you will not pay more costs. So yeah, I think I wanted to talk about this particular area. And I was reading this book called as Clean Code recently, and I read a few examples, and I could totally relate that, hey, these examples do match my experience as well. And I thought, why not share it? There are many good points in that book. I think you should go through that book. You should not take that book as something written by God that you have to follow it end to end. It is the author's experience, and most of the things are correct. There would be a few points which you might not agree to, and that's what he has written in the preface, or I think in chapter 1, that you might not have to agree to all the approaches which he suggests, but the crux is same, that you need to have a good quality of code. So do read this book in your free time. I think that book could easily be read in your free time. It requires some amount of focus, but not to the extent that you have to leave everything and focus just on that book. So yeah, that's it from my side. I hope this video was helpful. Please comment if you think if you agree to this point or if you disagree to these points. I would love to know your opinion. That's it from my side for this video. Till the next time, bye.